You're giving away about 10 years of your life. And it starts before you even get out of bed, when you reach for your phone. And within seconds, you're already consuming other people's ideas, other people's lives, cat memes.
If you spend 3 hours a day on your phone, from the age of, I think it was 15, to the average age of death, 79, you will have spent 10 years straight on your phone.
10 years. Not for love, not for your dreams, just for your phone.
In a society that profits from you being stuck on your phone, giving your attention to art is a rebellious act.
What would happen if, before I consumed anything, I had to create something for 30 days? Ready to be a little rebellious? So I decided to test this on something I once did just for the sake of creating. Cuddling cats. Just kidding. Every morning before I touched my phone, I had to paint for 1 hour before consuming anything. Just me, a blank canvas, and a construction site outside my window. Coffee was allowed, rain sounds too, everything else off limits. I wanted to know if this could actually change anything, so I tracked it. My flow, my anxiety, and my urge to check my phone. In those 30 days, I found something again that I thought I'd lost. Here's what I learned from 30 days of creating before consuming, and why you should do it too. If you're new here, this is Dreambuilder Diaries. A 1-year experiment where I built my dream of becoming an author through 12 monthly challenges. This month's motto, create before consume. We have 10 months left. And by the way, hi, I'm Svenny, like Sven from Frozen, but with an I. Chapter 6. Brush strokes, brain dump, burnout. Painting 1. Clarity over chaos. I thought this would feel calm. I was wrong. And it wasn't just the construction site that was loud. My head was louder. I almost colored my coffee several times, and I kept thinking, what if this turns out bad? What if I mess this up?
Oops.
Something felt off. And I started noticing it everywhere. Writers burning out, creators feeling stuck. So I started wondering, what happened to our creativity? Because when I was younger, it wasn't like this. I didn't think about results or whether something was good. I just made things. I used to paint with lightness, a kind of childlike wonder. I would spend hours on pictures like this. It was my quiet, safe space. Until the noise came. An art teacher who could only see what was wrong. Social media, numbers, expectations. And apparently it's the same for almost all of us. There's a study that found that 98 of 5-year-olds are considered as creative geniuses. By adulthood, that number drops to 2%. I don't think we lose creativity, we silence it. It gets quieter under all that noise. Expectations, deadlines, the pressure to get it right. And slowly, that childlike spark starts to fade. So I started wondering, if I create without all that noise, could I bring that lightness back? Because I need it to keep writing books, to keep making videos, to keep building my dreams. I'm just at the beginning, and I don't want to burn out. I want to light up. And after a few days, something started to shift. It got quieter. Not outside, inside. The urge to check my phone wasn't as strong. The thoughts about whether this was good enough started to fade. Instead, I started experimenting. And for the first time in a while, I wasn't creating to get somewhere, for a goal. I was just, creating. Because for once, I didn't start my day with everyone else's ideas. No numbers, no comparisons, no pressure. Just a blank space. And maybe that's all creativity ever needed. But that wasn't the only thing that changed. Painting 2. Process over product. By the time I started the second painting, something had changed. I wasn't as tense anymore, but I noticed something else. I kept wanting to finish, to make it look good, to get somewhere with it. And I realized how used I had become to thinking like that. Because everywhere I looked, everything was about the result. You type a prompt, and seconds later there's a final image or a text. Make a reel, post it, move on. Write a book in 30 days. It feels like we've turned creativity into a race, into fast food. It has to be quick, finished, done. And without even noticing, I think I started expecting that from myself too. To skip the messy part, to get it right faster. Like skipping the awkward teenage phase before you become an adult. But that's not why we care about art. Why do some paintings sell for millions? Because of the story, the depth, the process behind it. Why do we get lost in worlds like Harry Potter? Not because they were rushed, but because they were built. And slowly, something shifted again. I stopped trying to get somewhere and started enjoying what was actually in front of me. The mistakes, the experiments, and all the monthly messes. Literally. And maybe that's the part we've all been losing. The willingness to go through the process, not just when it comes to painting and creativity. Painting felt a lot like building a dream. You start with a blank canvas, an idea, but nothing that makes sense yet. And at first, no one else can really see it. It looks messy, unclear, incomplete. But brushstroke by brushstroke, something begins to take shape. And sometimes you mess it up, but you don't start over. You paint over it, you adjust, you keep going. And slowly it becomes something real. And I think that's the part we forget. We don't see the messy middle, we only see the finished version. But when I created before I consumed, I stopped thinking about the end and just stayed with what was in front of me. And for the first time in a while, that felt enough. And that changed more than just how I created. Painting 3. Create equals connect. By the time I got to the third painting, something else started to change. It wasn't just how I painted, it was how I was there. My urge to check my phone kept getting weaker. My anxiety was lower. My focus felt sharper. I started being more present. Because when I started my day like this, there was no noise to pull me away. So when I was there, I was actually there, with what I was doing, with the people around me. And sometimes it even changed how I structured my day. There were days where I didn't paint in the morning. Birthdays, trips, time with people I care about. And instead of forcing the rule, I chose them first. I didn't consume anything, but I created later. Sometimes when it was already dark outside. Because I realized this was never about rigid discipline. It was about intention. Sometimes create before you consume became connect before you create. Rules should serve creativity, not cage it. One day I was painting outside and someone stopped. she didn't just glance at the picture. She stayed. She asked questions. We started talking. And suddenly, it wasn't just a painting anymore. It was a moment. And I realized I hadn't had a moment like that in a while. Not because I wasn't around people, but because I wasn't fully there. Even when I was with someone, part of me was somewhere else, checking something, thinking about something, half in, half out. And I think we've all gotten used to that, to being connected, but not fully present. And creating changed that. After 30 days, something fascinating happened. 2 mornings in a row, I woke up with songwriting ideas, something that hadn't happened to me in such a long time. You'll probably hear the songs in a later challenge. I didn't just get my time back, I got something else back. The joy, the lightness in my creativity, that childlike feeling I thought I had lost, because I gave it the space to. And I want to protect it, because that's what lets me create. Painting, writing stories, making videos, building worlds. I will keep creating before consuming. After 30 days, I had 3 paintings, each one representing a stage of Dreambuilder Diaries. The yearly journey, my night alone in the dark, seeing the stars, my book challenge, and love for books in autumn. Each one showing me something I had forgotten. How to create without all the noise, without rushing to the end, without being somewhere else in my own life. And then there was one more painting. The last one wasn't chosen by me. It was chosen by you. I asked for ideas, and honestly, some of them were wild. At one point, we even had a tie. And somehow, one of them won in the end. And it was something I never would have chosen myself. But that's what made it special. Because this whole experiment was never just about creating alone. It was about connection. With others and with yourself. And when I looked at all of these pictures, I realized something. I didn't create them for money or for a goal. I just created them. But I thought, why not let them become something more? Inspired by my interview with marathon man Gary McKee, I started a fundraiser for Macmillan Cancer Support. And we finally received our first donation. I am so incredibly happy. Thank you so much to Andy. And I thought maybe these paintings could be part of that too. So I decided to give them away. And every buck will go to the fundraiser. If you want to support and if you want one of these paintings, you can donate at least $50 through the Just Giving link. Send me a screenshot via mail with the painting you want, and it's first come, first serve. All the details are in the description below. When I stopped starting my day with everything and everyone else, and I started with a little silence before the scroll, I slowly came back to what was already there. My ideas, my creativity, my life. As Bon Jovi says. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for your phone, maybe just ask yourself, what do you want to create first? Get some of those years back. See you in the next chapter. And I'm very nervous. My hands are sweaty. I honestly might have to end this experiment.